Hey, so let's talk divorce. I wanted to talk today about a question that comes up from time to time here of when is spousal support modifiable? And, by the way, if you're new to the channel, my name is Brent Boyer. I'm an attorney here with Adam, and we practice, divorce and family law. And this question comes up quite a bit of when can I modify my spousal support? Under what circumstances is spousal support modifiable? You're divorced, been divorced for a while, you want to get your alimony stopped or even maybe just lowered, whichever is going to make sense, whichever is possible. And so there's certainly some things to look at when you're trying to consider whether that's going to happen and what you need to do with that, how to approach it. So you're going to need to see a change of circumstances to modify your spousal support. So if you're if you have a divorce judgment, you're living under a court order that has you paying alimony to somebody, and there's no term of years, there's no duration, you might have just normal, ordinary, modifiable spousal support. It's lifetime, but not really because it's modifiable. So when can you modify it? So there's no written rule of exactly how long has to pass before you're able to modify it. So you may have heard this, maybe not. With child support, there's this review. There's really an automatic period built in. Every 3 years you can get your child support reviewed. Whether you feel like it's needed or not, it's allowed to be reviewed every 3 years, and then it can be reviewed more frequently if there's a reason, if there's a change of circumstances. Spousal support, there's no such rule. Spousal support, alimony can be modified at any time, but there's no outer limit. If you don't do anything and you ignore it for 5 years, there's nobody that's going to come knocking and saying, hey, do you want to have your spousal support looked at, your alimony lowered? So that's first off, as far as duration and how long you pay it, that's what that looks like. So you want to look at, okay, is it going to be appropriate for me to get my spousal support lowered? So, one way, of course, to find out whether you're paying too much in alimony or spousal support, whether you have the ability to lower it, is to have an attorney look at it. Of course, we look at that. The way Michigan law is, there's no law that says that you run some software and get a number, and then that tells you whether you're paying the right amount of spousal support. But there's definitely software out there. There's two different programs. There's the Springfield Publication software, and there's the Craig Ross MarginSoft software. They both can give you some idea of whether spousal support or alimony, how much you should be paying and for how long. And they take into account these factors. Basically there are these 12 factors of how spousal support and alimony are calculated under Michigan law. And these programs do their best to try to quantify those factors, things like age and health and background and income and child support. If there's child support, that's definitely a factor. So, probably important to mention, with child support and alimony, if you're paying spousal support and you have children under 18, child support has to be calculated first. That's mandatory. That's by Michigan law. So any modification of spousal support would be secondary to whether your child support can be modified, first of all. So if you're making less money or getting ready to retire or something's happening that's going to be a change of circumstances and you think you can get your spousal support or your alimony modified, you'd want to have somebody look at it, run the software program, give you some idea on the numbers. And this program takes into account the 12 factors. It's not able to quantify all of them. These 12 factors are things like your past conduct, which is really going to be sort of fault of the marriage. They're looking at the length of the marriage. So we plug into the formula how long you were married. Even if you've been divorced for a while now, we would look at that. They're looking at the ability of your now ex-wife, her ability to work. If she's not really making much money, does she have the ability to make money? Is there something there that we can go at, or are we stuck with someone that just really is kind of an underachiever, under-earner? So you'd want to take that into account. That they look at the property that you each were given in the divorce, although usually that just leads back to the middle because you each got half, you got the same property. But you can get into where property can be income producing, that can be a factor. They look at age. Normally when we're looking to modify it, we're looking at the age that your ex-wife was at the time you got divorced. That just kind of makes more sense looking forward of, okay, this is what was appropriate at the time, this is what you should be paying as far as spousal support. And they're looking at things that maybe have changed. Maybe your ex-wife's needs have changed. Maybe she's remarried. If she's remarried, that's usually a trigger. Most people, their divorce judgment is going to say they pay spousal support until death or until remarriage, and then it terminates. the remarriage part is not mandatory. It's possible to pay spousal support and have an agreement in a divorce judgment and not have it terminate at remarriage, although almost everybody has that in their agreement that it's going to terminate at remarriage. So maybe she's remarried. If so, then it should just be terminated. But maybe, and this is more common, maybe she's living with somebody, or somebody's paying her bills, or you suspect somebody's paying her bills. That can be a factor, that can be a change of circumstances, that could be enough for a court to take a good look at your spousal support and see if there's anything that needs to be modified. They look at health, they look at, the health for both of you, but really the factors are all kind of laying on the side of the person that is receiving the money, because you're trying to make the money go away. So typically what we'll see is someone's coming in and they're retiring, or they're thinking about retiring, and they want to know if they can modify this spousal support or alimony that they've been stuck paying. If they have some agreement in their judgment of how long they're supposed to pay it, normally they're not looking to come in and modify it before the end of that term is up. They know that they're sort of stuck paying. If they agree to 5 years of alimony modifiable, they know they're probably going to be stuck paying 5 years of alimony unless something drastic happens, they lose their job, they become disabled or something like that. So normally you're seeing somebody who's coming in, they're thinking about retiring or they have retired, and they want to know what this looks like. Am I in a position now to stop paying alimony, stop paying spousal support? Because there's nothing that says just because you retire that that's it and it stops your alimony. But it certainly should reduce your alimony, I would think, because in retirement you're going to find that your income is going to be much closer to what your ex-wife's income is, or what income was used to calculate the spousal support in the first place. So you've retired, now instead of making 100 and something a year, you're making like 45 maybe, let's say, with pension and retirement and whatever it is you're doing. So that can be a factor. Age can be a factor if you're just not, really going to keep working anymore, or you're changing jobs and doing something different because of your age, or maybe you've lost your job, or maybe there's you have a disability or qualifying for a disability. Those things can all be reasons, and can be what Michigan law calls a change of circumstances, can be a reason to review your spousal support. So, hopefully that helps. Those are some things that can come into play, things that you can look at of why your spousal support would be modified and how you would go about it. As far as the how and exactly what you do to modify it, you file a motion to reduce spousal support, motion to reduce or terminate. That's what you would do. That's the procedure for it. You file it through the court where you got divorced at and make a request. A judge reviews it. They'll do usually what they call a motion hearing, which is like sort of a little mini hearing where they review everything, and then they'll decide from there, is there enough evidence here to go forward and make a decision and give you more of an evidentiary hearing, which is kind of like a trial where you'd call witnesses and have evidence if needed and whatever it is. So that's what you'd want to look at, and to find out whether you have a case where you can modify your spousal support or alimony, your best bet is to meet with an attorney, have them review it. There's some online calculators for spousal support, so you could take a stab at that. MarginSoft has one. If you go to marginsoft.com, you can do it. I think they even have like a 30-day free download. You can download the software yourself, run some numbers, and from there you probably would have some questions. But again, like and subscribe. Like the video for us, subscribe to the channel, and that's it. Thanks for watching.